climate change, catastrophic war, the deterioration of culture and community, the debasement of our connection to God, all of these things are coming to an end. Massive species-wide solutions to all of these are coming, and not in the form of fighting, not in the form of winning a violent revolution. It's coming in the form of all of us doing what we feel like we were sent here to do. Container is now open. We are living through exciting times, you could say. Some of the excitement can feel a little bit scary, and some of the problems humanity faces are really, really big. But today, I want to share a special perspective, one that it's really time we put front and center as we look ahead to the future and as we orient how we are living today. This is going to be a special episode, but before we launch into it, I just want to shout out our patrons. They went to patreon.com/thecontainer and they chose to make small monthly donations. Now, maybe a monetary donation doesn't make sense to you, or you're already doing that and you would like to know other ways to support the show. Luckily, there's a ton of ways you can support us. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave a rating and a review. That helps enormously. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, leave a comment. These things really help. And if you don't do it, then shows like The Container do not get supported. The only way for us to have support is for the person watching or listening to this right now to make a choice to support us. So to the people who have made that choice, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to the people about to make that choice, I want to give a special thank you. Welcome. Okay, now this is a special episode. As you can see, it's not as long. It's not in our interview style. I just wanted to give out a special message to people. It's a message of hope, and it's a message I think is really, really important that we start sharing more and more. Okay, so I have some good news. Climate change, catastrophic war, the deterioration of culture and community, the debasement of our connection to God, all of these things are coming to an end. Massive species-wide solutions to all of these are coming, and not in the form of fighting, not in the form of winning a violent revolution. It's coming in the form of all of us doing what we feel like we were sent here to do. Okay, so what am I talking about? I look around and I see a lot of exhaustion. If you look at films made over the past 5 years, you can really feel into the cultural malaise. There is something gray and bleak and exhausted that is expressing itself in our culture. If you listen to pop music, you hear that too. And then if you look at the headlines, we are seeing some really scary precedents being set in climate and global heating, especially with the oceans. We're also seeing just how easily a few actors can rush the human race to the brink of nuclear war. At the same time, people have a really damaged connection to God. They want to be connected and struggle to find a way in their mind and in their heart to make that make sense for them. For others, it just doesn't look appealing at all. They're not trying because it just seems too crazy to them for a number of reasons. So all of that sounds pretty bad. I think especially for me, Things around climate change are a struggle because we are blowing past these certain red lines, and we don't feel the effects just right away. So it can be hard to connect. If we were in a wartime situation and we were trying to help our neighbors survive, we would have bombs dropping and we would look at those bombs and we'd be like, oh, wow, something really bad is happening. We would feel the explosions rumbling under our feet and we would say, okay, it's time to act. Because climate change doesn't have that feature, it becomes kind of hard to connect our animal sense of sacred urgency to the reality that it is time for radical action. So, everything that I've laid out here can seem like bad news, but what I really want us to start framing this moment as is human rebirth. It's the launch of the new renaissance. Okay, but why do I think that? I want to take you back to the pandemic year, which did we ever think we would look back at that and say those were simpler times? I don't know. But what I notice is that my generation, the millennials, really spent our time doing things like learning how to do urban gardening or how to cook or how to reclaim a lot of these skills that were lost through industrialization, kind of wiping out the necessity for a lot of these um, cottage industry skills. It's a generation where living at the forefront of agriculture and like biodynamic farming and things like this is cool. Like for a lot of millennials, talking about the microbiome in the soil and how to manage that is like that's like a good time had by all. Also, I see so many people seeking out healing. Like the amount of people over the last 10 years who have really looked in the face their trauma and their shadows. It's crazy. Shadow work is common now. Taking psychedelics and doing shamanic journeying where you heal all of your spiritual issues, that's like normal now. I mean, especially in certain groups. And so, maybe it's easy to get a little bit unbalanced in how you see this, but it's becoming popular. We have a growing number of people who see things in this new radical way, who have a lot of these skills, the kinds of skills you would need if you were looking to totally change the way we make food, the way we organize our economy, and the way we relate to ourselves and each other while we do it. At the same time, we're starting to see the beginning of a resurgence in the belief in God. The wave of atheism has crested. This, I never thought I would see this in my lifetime, but like baptisms at the Catholic Church are going up, 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 up. The past 2 years, it's just like they keep breaking records all around. All of these dioceses all around are breaking records. And it's not just in the Catholic Church. It's people on the frontiers of new ways of relating to God, acceptance for a lot of spiritual forms that for a long time were quite taboo are now commonplace. People consult astrologers and they get energy healing work done. I mean, it's a whole brave new world, especially in the West. It's really different than it was just 10 years ago, just 5 years ago. If you look around, things have really changed. It can be quiet, it can be sort of segregated. So it's easy not to sort of click all of these things together. Here's another part I want to mention is that our relationship to politics has so radically changed. Now, about 10 years ago, there was kind of a a final push on the activist left. You had, especially here in America, you had a last resurgence of can organizing a party and getting in the streets, like, can that actually work? And that crested, it failed. And for some of us, that was really hard, bitter medicine. But it means that when people look at the headlines today and they are less than impressed by what they see going on, our impulse, our grand impulse, is not really to just vote a different party into power. There's like a big decrease in support of the government, and there's not some increase in support for another party. And that can seem kind of scary because, especially in America, politics has sort of worked on this pendulum for a long, long time. And that feels normal and that feels safe. But we are no longer living in an old norm. And that's why I'm excited. All of these things coming together. Again, it's easy to just take it issue by issue and not put them all together. But I see people, a large number of people with incredible skills to do the kinds of things we need to do to grow food in a as Mother Nature gets her freak on, let's say. We have skills how to interact with each other. Practices like circling and authentic relating are increasing our ability to interact and interact in ways where we're not just more effective, but we're not creating more trauma along the way. This is super important. It's a totally new paradigm that we are just blindly waltzing into. And guess what? It's the right paradigm for the moment. Okay. For us to really confront climate change, for us to really foster world peace, for us to revive our connection to God, and for all of that to happen in a culture that is creating the art that will feed us for generations, we're going to have to do it on our own. This is no longer a situation where we wait for a government to do something or we ask corporations to stop doing a bad thing. That paradigm is not going to pull this off. Okay? We're going to have to do it. And we are going to do it. It's victory here is inevitable. If you just look around, you see everyone is already do it. If you look around, have you noticed how many people have launched communes or collective living situations just like in the past 2 years? If you look around in your neighborhood or your community, have you noticed how many solar panels have gone up? It's like you can just feel it in the air if you really listen. Something really young but really real is here now. It's the new paradigm. And the way we do this without the clinging on to the ring of power, the throwing the ring of power into Mount Doom, it means that we don't do this by propping someone or some party, some group into power. We have to do this. We have to take action. One of my dear friends who has been on the podcast, Hannah Helsing, something that she always mentions at circling events here in Charlottesville is like, if you see something, then that's like yours to fix. Like if you see a problem, she's often needing to remind me of that. We can get lulled into this sense that if I see a problem, someone's messed up, and why doesn't anyone see this problem? Okay, those days are over. If you see the problem, it is now because that's your superpower is to see those kinds of problems. There is like a deep form of eco spiritual anarchism here that I want to invite people into, because while I think that um this rebirth, it is certain and it is inevitable, it's victory, but part of it is you, like you, not just everyone listening to this, but you, the one person listening or watching this right now, you have to do it. And we are doing it. Like when I look around, there is nothing I'm more certain of than it is happening. You can feel it and you can see it. And what I want for people to start doing is to start looking around in these different realms and being like, whoa, homeschooling is like way more common, and really we have like all these advanced methods for homeschooling now, and all of these awesome networks around the world for homeschooling in these really radical, spiritually potent ways, heart forward ways. And then those people to look over and be like, huh, we are now adding more solar power to the grid and renewable energy in general than um, we ever thought we would be at this point in time. Like we have now surpassed the expectations. We're growing exponentially, and it's appearing everywhere. It's now very cheap. It's cheaper than fossil fuels. At the same time, if you look around, urban agriculture is growing by leaps and bounds. Agroforestry, where we're growing our food in these beautiful forests that we get to walk through, that's growing. If you're listening to this, like, you probably know people who this is their shit. This is what they like. This is what they're obsessed with. And it might be you. You might be the one. And on a cultural level, we now have such sophisticated tools available and distribution systems that have been figured out to where you can just make film now outside of a studio. You don't have to get giant loans to make really great looking, sounding, professionally presented film. I mean, when I was first starting out in my teens and using camcorders and stuff, if I had access to this, oh my goodness, to go back and to tell him, me at 16, 20 years ago, what was gonna be here in 20 years. I mean, he wouldn't believe it, because it's like weirdly dream come true territory. But there's only one way that that dream comes true. It's this weird balance. It is inevitable, but it takes you doing something about it. We all have our different parts to play. And I believe the way we do this, it's like a full wartime effort, but we're not fighting anyone. We're waging peace. We are showing up to foster the human rebirth. And that means we have to show up. And we show up best when we are healed, aligned with God, working together, praying for peace, and taking responsibility for what we see, and using the skills we develop when we get to do exactly what we want to do. This is my last point that I really, really, really want to leave you with. If the thing you love to do is write poetry, then I think that that is the single best way you can serve the human rebirth, is to help us rebirth poetry. If your favorite thing is gardening, then garden. Maybe your favorite thing to do is take care of your loved ones, like raising your kids. Then that is so totally the way we get to human rebirth, is you raising your kids. As I'm sharing this, I notice that I'm getting very, very warm. It's the lights too. And it's a hot day in April. Kind of freaky, huh? And yeah, it's freaky times. And the weather's going to get freakier. And there could be some scary stuff happening with war. There could be some scary stuff happening with UFO disclosures. There could be scary stuff happening with something we just wouldn't even be able to imagine yet. But the human rebirth is inevitable. It's already happening all over, and it needs you. Like if you do not proactively take responsibility for it, it can't happen. And with that, the container is now closed.